This is VSiN, the sports betting network. This is Money Moves on VSiN, the sports betting network.
We're kicking off hour 2 here on Money Moves, VSiN, the sports betting network, Sirius XM channel 158, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app. Wherever you're watching or hanging out with us, we appreciate it. Alongside Jonathan Von Tobel, Stormy Bonantoni with you, producer Justin Emery at the controls. Lots to come still this hour. Some MLB discussion as we near closer and closer to the trade deadline. We've also got 6 games coming up on the evening slate. Our Money Moves top 25 college football reveal will roll on today
Our
with
penultimate day.
The number 2 and number 3 teams in the country.
Kind of worked out that it ends on a Friday.
I know. It's almost like we planned it that way.
Did we?
Yes.
I don't remember that. But
Yes.
either way, it was my idea. So
Oh, my goodness. We'll hear more from Big Ten Media Days as well. There's a soundbite from PJ Fleck that I think is just too good not to play. So we will get to that a little bit later on. But we're going to kick off this hour talking some National Football League stuff because our training camp tour rolls on.
Join Stormy and JVT as they go on the Money Moves NFL training camp tour.
And where are we today, ladies and gentlemen? Headed to the Charm City. The Baltimore Ravens, our next team as we continue to make our way through the East Coast. I do really love the movement of the car there.
quick trip, right?
Yeah, not too far.
Is that all that? What is that called? The DMV area?
Yes.
One of those freaks are from
Justin,
there.
what did you say? About 45 miles.
Okay,
so
cool.
not too shab. We talked about this team a little bit earlier on, but John Harbaugh obviously out after 18 seasons at the helm. His brother's longtime assistant,
Was it
Jesse
that
Minter.
long?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I know. Jesse Minter obviously taken over, though, former defensive coordinator with the Los Angeles Chargers and the Michigan Wolverines. But year after year, I feel like we are talking about this Baltimore Ravens team as a contender. And yet they never seem to get there. We only just saw them for the first time make an AFC title game. They have yet to make a Super Bowl. What do you make of them big picture entering this year?
I make of them that I know they're going to be a well above average team because Lamar Jackson's there. Now, I say that with some pause because Lamar Jackson has to be healthy and available for that to actually transpire. But I do blindly believe at this point that when Lamar Jackson's available, is going to be one of the more deadly offenses in the National Football League. So that, to me, is my baseline for them. He was a little dinged up last year.
A little?
Yeah, he played the fewest amount of snaps of his NFL career since his rookie year, obviously. 368 dropbacks, the second fewest of his career, going back to 243 in 2018. So we know that we need him to be available, but when he's available, he's going to be out there. So I kind of trust that this offense is going to be great. I think the question is just, is Jesse Minter's presence as a head coach now going to change things for a defense that was insanely disappointing, especially to start the year in 2025? That, to me, is going to be the big question. They eventually finished, I think what we're talking about here, pretty middle of the pack when it came to some of the defensive efficiency metrics, kind of climbed their way back up. But that's going to be the question. Are they going to be better defensively?
Well, they obviously need pass rush help. 30 sacks last year, tied for the third fewest in the NFL last season. It was the second fewest in Ravens franchise history. Max Crosby was a Raven, then he wasn't. Consolation prize, not too shabby, in Trey Hendrickson, although he's coming off of an injury as well. But he is somebody who's, led the league in sacks at certain points. Mike Green, coming out of Marshall in the draft, is somebody that people think could be kind of a potential superstar in the making as well. So maybe they have done enough. And then obviously, as you mentioned, Minter kind of riding the ship here. News-wise, it is good. We got an update that Nnamdi Madubuike is going to be activated from the PUP list, or is rather. He's been cleared to practice for the first time in 10 months after we thought that his career could be over with the neck injury and surgery that he ultimately had to have. So that is great news. You also do add Calais Campbell, but, he's going through a lot emotionally right now. So perhaps football can be a good outlet for all of the stuff that he's been going on and dealing with behind the scenes with his family stuff. But
he's also very old.
That is a layer of it too. But health, I think, is going to be a really key piece of this thing for not only Lamar Jackson, but the defense too, with some of these guys that they have.
Yeah, but I think you hit it on the head with the edge rusher. And, we've talked about this with a bunch of different teams in football in general. If you cannot rush the passer, we invoked this when we talked about Georgia yesterday. 20 sacks, that leads to a defense, then all of a sudden your coverage, you have to last that much longer in coverage. You've got to hold up. And sometimes you just can't really do that if your team is not able. Screw sacks. Just generate pressure overall. And that's going to be a problem for you. And that was a really big piece of this. So you need some of those improvements. You mentioned Mike Green. A lot of people thought, because he was a little bit of a mercurial person coming out of the draft, there's some issues there, that maybe that was a value selection for him. But last year only had 34 pressures and 713 snaps. That's got to be better if you're going to provide something defensively, especially from the edge rusher's perspective. Campbell is a little bit older and dealing with what he's dealing with, so that's something you've got to monitor too. And then Trey Hendrickson's, I think he's always an interesting guy when you look at his overall profile, because there's no denying how good he was at the peak of his powers. And when you look at it, but of all the seasons he's been in the league, he's only had 4 in which he's had double-digit sacks, but they were such monstrous seasons that you do wonder if those are real or if there's going to be some sort of aberration there. Obviously, injuries, as you mentioned, impacted that too. Only 4 over the course of 285 snaps, but edge rusher is going to be the most important position. If they can't get any pressure, if Hendrickson, is not going to pan out the way that you need him to, then all of a sudden, you're talking about an offense that desperately needs Lamar to stay healthy overall, but really will need it, of course, if that defense is going to be anywhere near the level it was in 2025.
So to go back to Lamar Jackson, he is your second shot on the board to be the league MVP this year. Josh Allen's your favorite at plus 550, and then Lamar right there at 8-1. Fun fact, did you know that each of the last 2 times that Lamar Jackson has worked with a new offensive coordinator, it has been MVP seasons? It happened in 2019 with Greg Roman, 2023 with Todd Monken. This year, he has a new offensive coordinator again in Declan Doyle, who he calls Deck, and had this to say about how the two of them are working together.
No, I don't think we carried over anything, man. It's Deck like a wizard. He's trying to get the best out of all of us, not just the quarterbacks, but every aspect of the offense. And I feel like he's doing a great job at that, challenging us each and every play. Even with the huddle, how the huddle is set up, he's challenging us, man, get to the line of scrimmage fast, execute, break down the defense, process everything fast. It's like process of elimination when we get into the line of scrimmage, so it's great.
So clearly he likes his offensive coordinator if he's calling him a wizard. The questions for me are, can you run block as well? Because not only do you need to protect your quarterback, but Derrick Henry isn't getting any younger as well at this point. From an offensive standpoint, and I guess for the season at large, what do you think happens from Lamar Jackson? If he stays healthy, is he MVP again? Is they're in a Super Bowl? Are they having 13-plus wins? What is the ceiling and what is the floor?
I think the ceiling is everything that you're talking about. I think you can make the argument Lamar Jackson should probably be on par with Josh Allen, and I would say more from an MVP odds standpoint, but I'm saying that more from the aspect of bring Josh Allen back down to the pack of 8-1 or 7-1.
So Jackson and Joe Burrow should all be kind of on the same line?
Yeah, because as we've discussed, and we'll get to the Bills in length, but I just don't look at Josh Allen and what he's got working with him and going yeah, man, that's going to be an offense that's really going to thrive. So we'll see if that actually happens. But the whole point is, yes, I would say the ceiling is about 13 wins. Because remember, too, if I remember correctly, I pulled this up in my notes, too, but if you look at the Baltimore Ravens, they have the 5th easiest schedule by opponent win total this coming season. So there's going to be opportunity for you to build up some victories if you can take advantage of it. Look at the beginning portion of this year, for example. Obviously, you've got to go to Brazil, right, to take on the Dallas Cowboys. I believe that's that Week 3 game. But Colts, Saints, Titans, Falcons, Browns, all sandwiched around those contests before you get to some of the big boys in the middle portion of your season.
Yeah.
You could go into that first home game in Week 7 against the Bengals with 1 or no losses if you take care of your business properly and be in a really good position to grab a 1 seed, win the division, and have Lamar Jackson potentially in contention for another MVP.
I will say, though, that middle portion of the schedule is rough. You go face a division rival in Cincinnati, you're at the Bills, you face a Jacksonville team on a short week that I have told you I really, really like this season. I have high hopes for the Chargers, so you play after that again in prime time on Monday night. The Panthers, say what you want about them. They are a division champ and a team I'm relatively optimistic on. And then at the Houston Texans, all before the very back end of the season where you close with 4 straight divisional opponents. Stop laughing at me about the Panthers.
You're not
Stop
about
it.
To,
I will not take this from you. I will not take this from you.
A division champion.
Hey, they won some games they probably shouldn't have. They beat the Rams.
I would say that is factual, that they are a division champion. But I also say, too,
they beat MVP Matthew Stafford. Come on.
Well, they did. So, too, did the Falcons on that fateful Monday night, correct?
We didn't need to talk about that.
But I would say, too, Let's just put it this way, though. What I think is going to be pretty interesting. You mentioned the middle portion. I would agree with five of the six.
Five of the six. That is the last week of October, and then that November is really tough.
No, but I would say, like, if you look at the last portion, though, because we talked about Tampa Bay today with Baker Mayfield, what if the absolute nuclear scenario happens for Tampa Bay? What if Vita Vea gets traded because they can't come to a deal? What if Baker Mayfield's in the midst of a bad season because he's just pressing and trying to get of his money? What if Aaron Rodgers is exactly what he is, which is an old man on his way out the door? All of a sudden, that end portion of the schedule becomes very, very manageable for the Baltimore Ravens, and you get back to the, hey, man, like, we're just ripping off wins left and right and really building it up. I agree with you. Like, the middle portion, as we have separated these for our graphics, right, that middle third has a lot of challenges to it, but you see why they have one of the easier strengths of schedule. And if the negative things happen for some of those teams that maybe have those kind of in the ether, then you're looking at a schedule that is really, really good for you.
The win total is at 11.5, and that's kind of like right on the bullet for where I see them. I see them as an 11, 12-win team. You know how high I am on the Cincinnati Bengals, though. I give them the edge in the division. So I think the Ravens make the postseason as a wild card team, and then we kind of see what happens from there if they can ultimately overcome the shortcomings that they've had in the playoffs at large.
Yeah, I think they're the rightful favorite. I think you and I are kind of buying low because we're kind of hoping on the Cincinnati Bengals, I would say, because we're hoping that the upside of all the new additions hit.
Yeah.
And I think they deserve to be in the spot they are from a projection standpoint, Baltimore. But I think that, if you're somebody like me who can at least see the vision, and if you actually are unlike me, really buy into the changes defensively, then I think you're looking at not only division, but I think this is a candidate for most wins in the National Football League, and a candidate to potentially get the 1 seed in the AFC.
Do you have that pulled up? What are the odds for that?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I'll pull them up for you right now.
We can find it out. I think more than anything, and we say this about just about every team in the NFL, especially those that have running quarterbacks, is the health is just going to be such a key piece of this thing.
Plus 790 for most wins in the NFL.
Again, reminder, if you are not a VSiN Pro subscriber yet, you need to get in there while you can, because our early bird special that's going for just $175 right now will be done in the next couple days. Head over to vsin.com/subscribe to come join us on that full-time basis, because in addition to everything that the subscription gives you, the unlimited articles, the daily best bets, the betting splits data and video, everything, you also get the NFL betting guide for free that has best bets all over the place.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools. But what they don't want you to know is that you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. VSiN Pro gives you access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Just tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back here on Money Moves, Stormy Buonantony, Jonathan Von Tobel with you. Still scoreless in the fourth here of this Yankees-White Sox game. How you feeling?
Yeah, it's weird because I got confused. I thought today was Sunday because usually you're mowing the lawn on Sundays, but our boy here in Chicago mowing them down anyway. Berkey, 3 2/3, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, akin to when we saw last. Ryan Weathers doing his part as well. 3 innings, 2 hits, 3 strikeouts, 1 walk over 52 pitches. We have an under 3.5 in this contest in the first 5, so we will see if we can hopefully keep this going. But Burke's been absolutely unreal. The favorite to lead the day in strikeouts, and he is doing his part with 9 thus far, Stormy. In other places around the country, top of the 7th inning, Kansas City Royals up 7-0 in the top of the 7th with 2 outs, but runners on first and second. Some would say the Royals threatening potentially here, and a 1-1 tie amongst the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. Remember, the Cardinals playing some very subpar baseball as of late, trying to snap out of a funk and get this thing done. And we have one final in the books. My Tejas Rangers cannot pull it off. They blow, not a big one, but a late one, a lead to the Tampa Bay Rays. They lose their series. They lose the game 3-2 on the road against the Houston Astros.
Beautiful. We will talk more Major League Baseball in just a little bit here on the program, but it is time to continue a little college football conversation, because we are now in the top 5 of our college football top 25.
This is the Money Moves College Football Top 25 Rankings.
And so as of today, JVT, our audience will officially know who the top team in the country is just by deductive reasoning. You would think.
Could be anybody. Could be UNLV. Could be San Diego State.
Could it?
I mean, it technically
really could be.
It really
and
could
the
actually
options
be.
are endless, but something tells me people will
Could
know.
be James Madison. Could be the Akron Zips. We could have the worst top 25 ever.
Of all time.
Yeah, you have no idea what it could be.
Of all time. Tomorrow will be fun, though, because we will deep dive into the number one team in the country.
Your favorite team.
And do an early look at what the projected bracket in the 12-team format would be at the end of the season. So that'll be fun to get into. But let's
Are we doing our own?
Yes.
Okay.
But let's first look at our number 3 team in our top 25, the Ohio State Buckeyes. How do you feel about placing them here?
I think it's an egregious affront to college football to put them here, and I think they should be 2.
Elaborate.
I just think they should be 2. No, I think, look, you're splitting hairs. Who cares? They're 3, they're 2.
Yeah, we talked about this yesterday. Our top 6, you could really kind of do whatever you want with in terms of order. You could put any of them top 3.
Yeah. You're really low on Georgia. You don't think they're going to be any good, and you thought Indiana should have been much higher. But either way, look, you've got the returning production, Jeremiah Smith and Julian Sayin. What I think is most interesting, actually, about Ohio State, because I think we just assume the normal production and that they're going to push, they're going to be in that 10, 11 win range, potentially 12. Does the market have the wrong order in terms of probability of Heisman winner? Jeremiah Smith is widely considered to be one of the best, if not the best players in college football. And will Julian Sayin get the credit when you have a pass catcher like that to throw the ball to?
No, I think Smith should be shorter.
Okay.
I actually heard Heather Dinich on ESPN earlier this morning, who does a great job covering college football for the network. She said, voters, I'm looking at you. This is not a quarterback award. Julian Sayin is the best player in college football. So
You mean Jeremiah Smith?
Jeremiah Smith is the best player.
That would make it a
very interesting. That would make it very interesting. That said, I actually do want to talk about Julian Sayin for a moment because his head coach, Ryan Day, was very complimentary about the development, the steps he has taken, and what he's learned from offensive coordinator Arthur Smith.
When you look at Julian just sitting here today, you've got a different look in his eye. He's been through a season now. He's won big games. He won the Texas game at home, first start ever. He won the rivalry game in the snow sideways. Being a Cali kid, probably his first snow game ever. But then he's got some scars too. We didn't finish the season the way we wanted to, and so you combine that with the whole off season. He's changed his body. You can see his lower half. You can see he's got his neck looks a little bigger. But to me, it's also the intelligence, and now him spending time with Arthur, learning about what Arthur's done at different places, and for him, he's going from Aaron Rodgers to Julian Sayin, and so sharing some of those stories and sitting down and talking about and that's another thing about Arthur. He's somebody that doesn't have such an ego that it's my way or no way. He talks about how I learned this from Aaron last year. I learned this from Russell Wilson. I learned this from Matt Ryan, and now that conversations, because one of the things that Julian, if you say give me the top 3 things about him, one of the top 3 things I would say is his intelligence. He can handle high levels of information. He can process things.
So the reason that I wanted to play that clip, JVT, is because on the season, he did some pretty tremendous things in terms of the completion percentage, 3rd highest in a single season in college football, 77%. He was off target less than 6% of his passes. Now it helps when you have Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate, who was taken top 4 in the draft this past year, as a couple of your pass-catching options. But the big games, as Ryan Day brought up there, 3 games against Texas, Miami, and Indiana. He only had 3 passing touchdowns, 3 interceptions, QBR of 67. The other 11 games, 29 touchdowns, 5 picks, QBR of 92. He was a different guy against different competition, and you can't have that.
Yes. I mean, we talked about that for a couple of these guys, and I think it's really fair to look at. So if that is going to be better, if he's going to be better, that has to improve too. So maybe it's just a young guy thing, right? You just step up in competition. It's a really big deal. You're picking apart a relatively easy schedule. But to your point, too, if you look at it from a PFF standpoint, if you go from week 12 on, he was an elite quarterback, and still it all washed out to be just that. But you see a kind of a clear line of demarcation where you go from elite quarterback in the country to well above average, we'll call it. So that is the other part, is maybe the longevity of being just a freshman playing in this system and playing in college football at such a high level really wore on you. Now that you're thick in the bottom half, as our boy said here, maybe you're going to just generally be better. But it's funny, you look at the amount of targets that Jeremiah Smith had in comparison to the pass attempts for Julian Sayin, it was less than 30% of his attempts. So it was about 27% of his attempts and targets went toward Jeremiah Smith. My whole point being is the dynamic of thinking it's all Smith if the voters want to decide between these two. At the very least, last year, Sayan showed a penchant and ability to spread the ball around, and it's not like a third of his targets were going to one guy.
Now, as you know, and we brought it up yesterday when we were looking at the Big Ten at large, I am partial to Oregon over Ohio State. I think they're the best team in the Big Ten. I think they could very well win a national championship this year. There are a lot of teams that can, but I give the edge to the Oregon Ducks. Don't make that face at me.
I'm listening. What?
In listening to some of the commentary from Dan Lanning, he seems to be very clear on this team being ready to take the next step. And he said experience is a big part of why he believes they can.
Yeah, I think every one of those guys felt like there was an opportunity for them to grow and something left out on the table that they really want to try to take advantage of. And, you know, nobody's going to have higher expectations than we will, but there's a difference in this team and last year's team. We had a lot of talent last year. Now a lot of that talent has experience, and I think that experience is invaluable, especially in a conference like the Big Ten with the opponents we have to play.
He said also in an interview with On3's Wilson Alexander off camera, he mentioned Indiana as kind of an outlier with the job that they've done the last 2 years in the turnaround and getting to a national championship. But he said it takes time, man, to build something special. I think coaches in this era that have been able to have success and create success and win national championships, I don't think Kirby Smart did it his first 4 years. I don't think Ryan Day did. It takes time. It's hard to build. There's 4 active coaches that have won national championships. We're close. We've got to win the last one. We've got to play better. And that's what it comes down to for them is the image that we have stuck in our brains of Oregon each of the last 2 years is the way they went out.
Got smoked.
Yes.
So that to me
and
is...
you took the next step, though. Like, you made it to the...
You did.
Go ahead. Sorry.
And then you got smoked.
Yes.
No, of course. No, you're right.
But that's what everybody thinks. That this is an unbelievable team, an unbelievable program. But the way that you have finished your season in the playoff each of the last 2 years, you got embarrassed.
Yep. So I think you kind of believe everything you're talking about. Like, hey, if you think that they're worth investing, what was the price? Plus 270 to win the Big Ten?
Yep.
If you wanted to play that, if you think there's that edge, I think that's perfectly fine. You're at this point where, because I'm with you, I mean, your last 2 results you should not be held to. You got there, and that's what matters. And like you said, you know, we can take the NBA route, which is, you know, these young teams eventually take the steps, right? You get eliminated early, and then you win another round, and then you eventually win a championship. So maybe that's what Oregon's working on. But at the same time, you can sit there and say, you know, it takes time, it takes whatever. Kurt Cignetti did it pretty quick. So, like,
that's why he said that's an outlier.
Or I mean, it's a showing that you can get it done.
I don't know. You've seen another team take the losingest program in college football history and make it a national champion in 2 years.
Not about losingest, but you can turn things around pretty quickly. And I think generally, a lot of people, unfairly or fairly, will just hold it to the fact that when you have faced the best of the best, you have looked wildly unprepared. And I think that's a fair criticism of them.
Sure, but I'll also say that each of the last 2 years in those losses, they lost to the eventual national champions.
Good for them.
The game that I was at on the sideline for the Rose Bowl where they got smoked against Ohio State, that shouldn't have happened. Like, that is still something in my brain that I don't understand.
Oh, it's the bye week's fault.
I don't understand how that went down that way. Oregon's schedule is pretty interesting when you look at it from the start. Even in the non-con, playing a Boise State team that is the at least expected and shortest shot to be the college football playoff representative. They will, but I'm just saying, like, even I at least thought it was interesting. We'll learn a lot about Boise State and Oklahoma State those first couple games.
I think we're going to learn a lot about Oregon on September 26th. I think that's a sneaky spot for them to have to go out there. It's going to be great, and USC was very good at home last year.
I brought up those 2 games for you because I know those are teams you're high on.
Well, who's that? Oklahoma State and Boise?
Yeah.
Not Oklahoma State, but Boise State, yes.
You talked about how much you love Eric Morris.
What? I think you're thinking of somebody else.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
20 leagues, one mission. Just Win Bets, baby, is your premier source for daily sports betting picks. They break down the data so you can bet with confidence across the entire sports calendar. For those of you watching on YouTube TV or the VSiN Watch app, scan that QR code on your screen, or if you're listening in the car driving around, justwinbetsbaby.com is how you can find out more information and start betting smarter today. Just Win Bets, baby. The name says it all.
I'll save it. It's a WNBA-related thingy in which I think that you would be interested in.
Just hit it. Go for it.
Well, did you see this social media post?
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
In any way, shape, or form?
No.
Angel Reese, Paige Beckers?
No.
How the WNBA put up this social media post of Angel Reese and Paige Beckers betting $400 on the All-Star game?
So I haven't seen it. I have like the Athletic auto email in the mornings or whatever, and I skimmed through it. I was like, oh, these idiots. But what's the latest?
So the WNBA, for those who don't know, okay, cool. So the WNBA, we'll set up the background before you can get the video, Justin. They, on their own social media post, the league's social media, posted a video of Angel Reese and Paige Beckers betting $400 on the outcome.
I didn't know they posted it on the W's account.
Yes.
I thought it was like Paige being stupid on her own.
No,
it was on the league account. What are we doing?
So here's the thing, because I've seen a lot of people like, well, if you're mad about this, it's not that we're mad about it. It's you have to understand what's happening. By the way, with what we'll call, for lack of a better term, your parent league and what just happened with the NBA.
How dumb can you be?
And even if they're voting on their own team's success, you should not do that. You cannot do that. And so, I was watching the video, and it's funny because, by the way, Paige Beckers, can we, if we get the video, I don't know what's going on up here, because if you remember last year when we played the video of Sabrina Ionescu when she was asked, here's the video right here.
About the Statue of Liberty?
Yes.
Stay rich. You gotta save this money. I'm gonna see you next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At night?
No, at practice.
Oh, at practice? I mean, I know y'all gonna lose, but if y'all lose,
I get to have that.
If y'all win, you get 400.
I get 400. And if we lose, then you get.
No, you owe me 400. Bet I'm saving on it.
So that's Paige Beckers. By the way, she has to be explained. That's what I was getting at, which was she didn't understand the concept of, wait, so if I win, I get that, but then if you win, you keep it. And she's like, no, then you owe me $400. So she didn't even understand the concept of what the bet was.
Well, that's probably a good sign that she doesn't understand betting.
Sure. I was invoking Sabrina Ionescu. For those who don't remember, Justin, I don't know if you were with us when we played that video, but Sabrina Ionescu at the All-Star game, was that last year?
Yes.
She was
funniest clip ever.
She was asked to guess the height of the Statue of Liberty, and her response was, 8 to 10 feet, which is just two people standing on top of each other. It's just the stupidest answer I've ever heard in my life. But this is, again,
what a guess. I still just can't get over that. What a guess.
But to your point originally here, just a step in it. This league is hilarious. And that was on the official WNBA account. Come on now. Now, people are also you got to suspend them for 5 games. Shut up. This is a very big mistake by the WNBA, given the perception of betting and sports and everything that's happening right now in the world. But I would say that that's probably number one on the list of stupidest things you're going to see this year.
Thank you for bringing that up and letting me watch that and remember that moment about Sabrina Ionescu, because I think it woke me up, as you know. I'm a little under the weather, so to speak, right now. It was my first time yesterday around children.
It was.
We went to that ice cream museum thing here in Vegas around Area 15, and it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. You get the unlimited ice cream stuff, but there's a lot of children around, and a ball pit that's made of sprinkles that I put my hand in that I regret now, because I think that might be what made me sick. I don't know what's going on. My head is foggy. My nose is running. My throat hurts. I'm going to have to Clorox down this microphone after I leave.
Who's on today? Mitch and Paul? Or is it Dustin? If it's Dustin, it's Dustin. Who
No,
cares?
Dustin's fine.
Yeah. I tried a cricket for the first time yesterday. I ate crickets. Yeah.
I tried a cricket.
Yeah.
Had a grassy aftertaste.
Or no, grasshopper. Same thing. Either way.
It was a cricket. No, it's a cricket.
Yeah, whatever it was. It still had the eyes, which that kind of threw me off quite a bit.
Yeah, I put Oreos on mine like a normal person.
Yeah.
So, to each his own.
That lady said there's crickets available, and I was like, bet, as Paige Becker said.
I told you how many scoops of ice cream I ate, and you were embarrassed for me that I ate so many.
No, you had 6. Right?
7.
Seven. Yeah. Sorry. Don't want to undersell it. No, I was more surprised because the process for me to get ice cream was way harder, because the lady that I got was like, no, we're out. And I was like, well, there's 10 things right there. They're like, no. I'm like, okay, I'll take vegan Rocky Road then. Yeah. Thanks.
They're not going to sponsor us after this conversation.
I enjoyed the soft serve.
Let's get into a little Major League Baseball here real quickly, because after all the prognosticating that we did yesterday about it being Tarik Skubal's last start with Detroit potentially, let's say yesterday sealed it after you give up a 7-0 lead, eventually losing the Orioles in 12 innings. And from our mouths to God's ears, apparently, because here was ESPN's Jeff Passan, who said on SportsCenter overnight, Skubal is going to be traded.
Yeah, Tarik Skubal is going to be traded. The Tigers haven't gone to teams that are interested in him and said as much at this point, but the expectation is that's going to happen within the next day or two. And frankly, everyone has been expecting it. When you see how the Tigers have played recently, and certainly their game Wednesday was a perfect encapsulation of their season, they understood that they needed to go on a really big run in order to have Tarik Skubal stick around, and they didn't do it. They're taking a healthy view of this. They understand that they have a lot of engaged teams right now. Teams that, in particular, are being cited by others as being the biggest threats, though, the Milwaukee Brewers, who have a tremendous farm system, and, of course, Phil, the Los Angeles Dodgers, who are the favorites at this point and, frankly, have been since the possibility of Tarik Skubal getting traded first surfaced a couple of months ago.
I'll go sports talk radio here for just a moment. And I will say, the Brewers, it is an absolute failure if you don't get Tarik Skubal. You have the means to do it. You are a team that has been very good for a very long time. You've got an opportunity in front of you here. Do not let the Los Angeles Dodgers go out there and get Tarik Skubal. You have a 6-game lead over the Chicago Cubs in the NL Central. You are a team that could be the best in Major League Baseball potentially with Skubal at the top of that rotation. Go and get him. Go and take the top spot from the Los Angeles Dodgers in the National League and just go and get this thing done, man. There's nothing stopping you. You have all of the pieces and prospects. And I like the way that Passan put it, which is the Tigers kind of understand. And I like this clip, too, because we actually hit on this the other day. The difference between the Red Sox and the Tigers was the Red Sox went on their run and now convinced themselves that they could be buyers because they are now in the postseason picture. The Tigers, it's ironic, fitting, poetic to blow a game like that with him starting it and just going, you know what, I think it's just time. Yeah. The baseball gods are telling you, we're done here. You're squandering this. You don't want to lose them for nothing. But the sports talk radio guy in me says, abject failure if the Brewers don't get it done. Do not let the Dodgers go and get him. You go get him.
Well, if you can, you'd have the best lefty-righty 1-2 punch in decades if you're able to make that happen.
Yep.
But I'll say to your point, Milwaukee's taken money this morning on the prediction markets. When I pulled this up at Call Sheet earlier today, Milwaukee was at 20%. They're currently 26%. The Dodgers were 48%. They're now down to 39%. So they're taking some cash.
So just think about that. You said it. Going into a postseason series, especially at a best of 5, and it's like, okay, cool. You've got to get through Mizraowski and Skubal. Come on. You have to go and get this done. You've seen what guys like that at the top of rotation will do for you.
And to the thought on the Dodgers, they just won back-to-back World Series. Can we not give them another ace, please? I understand, of course, them wanting to go out and get it, especially with the Shohei Ohtani injury concerns that you have now and trying to add to that rotation and win a third straight and make history and do all of these things. But I'm in agreement with you. Milwaukee, go out and get them. The Cubs also right now a 12% shot. And I do recommend you go listen to VSiN by the Books earlier this morning. They had Taylor McGregor, the Cubs reporter, on the program. And she was,
her?
She's a good friend of mine. She also does college football at ESPN. She did a really good breakdown talking about Skubal and, the thought process of the front office. She also talked about Pete Crow Armstrong, MVP candidacy, and what he brings there. So an interesting conversation if you want to go back and listen. Hey, while you're there, make sure you download Money Moves in podcast form, Pod of the Futures as well. But
also,
any other team you think should really be pushing?
I'm always a proponent of teams just buying in general if you've got to bite at the apple. For example, Pittsburgh. Why not? Why wouldn't you go and try to do something here and you really make a push? In the National League right now, the Pirates are 2 games out of that last wild card spot. I could convince myself of a lot of these different teams trying to make the push to go and get him if you feel like you're there. And especially when you're talking, you can make the argument maybe in the American League for some of these teams, but there seems to be an opportunity here to have some upward mobility, especially if you're floating around this awful NL wildcard race. And as we have seen with him in a Tigers uniform, when you get into those wildcard series where it's just a best of 3, good luck, because if you're facing Skubal, then you're down 1-0 in the series already, because he's going to go out there and he's going to give you 7 and mow you down. I'm probably still bitter from the, Houston Astros ticket I had from that blackjack tournament a few years ago. That was really, really good, but still.
Obviously, the trade deadline now just a couple days away. Passan saying he thinks this deal, wherever he ends up, could be done in the next day or two. And I feel like that's the first domino we need to see fall.
Go get him, Marty
before
Moreno.
Everybody else can figure out what they do there at the deadline. You hear that music? We got to step aside here real quickly on Money Moves. When we return, we are wrapping up this Thursday edition of the program. Maybe a little bit more baseball because we do still have 6 games to come on the evening slate and one soundbite I really want to play.
You're watching Money Moves here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
The Circus Survivor documentary is heating up, and this week's episode is called The Turning Point for good reason. In week 5, for the first time in Circus Survivor history, the #1 pick of the week goes down in flames on a Thursday night in the chaos that follows unlike anything the contest had ever seen. By the time weeks 6 through 9 play out, the contenders separate from the pretenders, and the pressure gets oh so real. 18.7 mil on the line. Watch the next episode coming up next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on VSiN. And if you need to play catch up, episodes 1 and 2 on YouTube right now, all you need to do is search VSiN Live.
All right, we got some listeners that have chimed in for the program. Money Moves at VSiN.com, as well as at me, JVT, at Storm Bonatoni, at Justin Emery Show as well. That is correct, Justin. So if you want to get in touch with our producer as well. Let's see. Who, up on Twitter, says, JVT, you're having a great show today. Cracking me up. Thanks.
Is that all you wanted to read? Oh, my God.
No, I'm just kidding. We have another one.
In the commercial break, JVT goes, we got some tweets. We got some listener interactions here. You're the worst.
That is a real one. But we also have Michael who checks in. Mike from Durham says, enjoy the show. Longtime subscriber, which is important, VSiN.com/subscribe. We appreciate that very much, Mike. Thank you. Asks, is Area 15 the same as Area 51? Notes that years ago he went to Planet 13, had a hell of a cold brew at the coffee shop. Not sure if it still exists. There's a second part to this email. To answer the first part, no, it is not the same. Area 15 is, what would you describe that as?
That's the Air Force facility.
Well, Area 51, right? Area 15
it's a top secret, right? It's a top secret U.S. Air Force facility. That's like what Area 51 is, where they say the aliens are and all that stuff.
Yes.
Area 15 is like this futuristic, cool
attractions of sorts. Like it's got a bunch of stuff on it. It's got like axe throwing and bar arcades and
Omega Mart, like this weird. It's a lot of good, cool visual stuff there.
A lot of cool stuff in there. If you're
including now an ice cream museum, which isn't really a museum.
If you're of the ilk and you like the psychedelics, it's a good place to go after you've taken them. The second part of the email is also grew up in Southern Ohio. Cricket is nothing compared to cicada. During a massive brood.
No.
Yeah, folks are cooking those things like you wouldn't believe. Pro tip, remove the legs if you don't want them to get stuck in your teeth.
Ew.
Keep up the good work. Again, following up for our audience who's just joining us, I and Stormy both tried crickets yesterday for the first time. I had more. They were fine. But how about that? Cicadas.
When I lived in North Carolina, they've got cicadas all over the place, and you can just hear them. You don't know where they are. You can't see them coming, but they are loud and always making noises, and when you do see them, they look disgusting. So not a cicada fan. Also, while we're on social media, though, and we're having that discussion, I did see some comments pop up from Malik Neighbors, who says there's no target dates on his return, but boy, are Giants fans excited about what they've seen on the practice field to this point. Have you seen any of the videos of him?
No, I have not.
So compared to the last time we saw a video of Malik Neighbors when he was at that charity softball event for Brian Burns, he's playing like dodgeball with some kids and hardly moving. He looked like a tree, essentially. He looks, like he did not have a knee issue at all in some of the clips that I've seen on the practice field to this point. And you have to think, too, going back to last season, when he got hurt week 4, that was Jackson Dart's first start. So they only actually got to play like a half of a game, essentially, of action together, with him coming back and looking good, with Cam Scatterbo coming back, and all of the optimism about the new head coach in New York. Like, what do you think this offense could do?
I think it could be very good. I think it could be slightly above average. A lot of it has to do with Jackson Dart. Why are you looking at me like that? What? I don't know why you do the things you do. I got distracted by your dog.
I don't have a dog.
Yeah,
Oh, the Greyhound.
Yep. So I think that there's some upside.
Winning events left and right, I hear.
I think a lot of this actually ties into what we talked about with college coaches, which is if you want to buy into a coach turning around a program relatively quickly in college, I think I'm down with that. I think the professional leagues, I don't know if there's that strong of an influence. And so I think a lot of the support for the New York Giants does tie into the upside of what Jackson Dart could be. But I also believe a lot of it has to do with the presence of John Harbaugh. And I don't know if my man's got the same mojo as he did in his.
You see one team meeting and you're out.
I mean, come on. They did not listen to him at all. Why did
they post that?
Why did they post it? It was
you
ridiculous.
You are the New York Giants. I'm looking at the New York Giants.
My favorite part of the whole video is when he's like, "You guys nervous?" And somebody in the back just goes, "No."
I'm nervous, though. I'm nervous.
But I think a lot of the hype is Harbaugh, and I don't know if he's really got the same verve to really push this. Obviously, I could be wrong. And I also think the division is going to be tough. Like, I'm high on Dallas. I think the Eagles are going to be just the same thing that we expect in that range of 11 victories. And we talked about them yesterday, but what if the Commanders' upside hits? What if Jaden Daniels is closer to rookie Jaden Daniels? And what if that defense is going to turn things around? Somebody's got to be at the bottom of the table, and I think that eventually would be the New York Giants, I think, in all of the simulations. By the way, we are officially into the 6th inning, so we got
Congrats on your dub.
So scoreless through the first 5.
If you tell JVT on that one, you got an early winner in the day.
Got caught trying to lay out a double, but he slid too hard into third and fell off the base. Out. That's tough.
One last note on this, I will say, if you are a buyer on what this offense can be, Malik Neighbors, comeback player of the year, 16-1 right now, 55-1 for offensive player of the year. I've teased this for the last hour. I need to play this sound from PJ Fleck really quickly. At Big Ten Media Days yesterday when he was on the podium, Homeboy spoke for 12 minutes before taking
Are we gonna play all 12?
a single question.
See you guys later.
When you're referencing e pluribus unum, I have to play it. So go ahead, PJ Fleck.
Well, we brought up this term, e pluribus unum, which means out of many become one. It's on our dollar bill. It's on our quarter. You should have seen that team meeting, right? Talking Latin to your players. So we gave every single one of our players, because giving players money is pretty popular, we gave them a dollar bill and a quarter. I don't think they've ever seen either one of those and what they actually looked like. But e pluribus unum was on there. And we gave them that and had a team meeting about that. 2, we said, you got to prove it now. We got to put our money where our mouth is. And we're not, no offense, proving it to the media or the external or our fans. We got to prove it to ourselves. We're exactly who we say we want to be.
Saw that coming from a mile away.
I feel like he should quit football and just be like a motivational speaker or a preacher or something like that. And I'll say that's who PJ Fleck is. He has never strayed from that. That's who he is. The shtick doesn't work for everyone, but for some people it really does. I sent you and Justin last night the clip of Drake Lindsay.
Clearly. It works wonders. You'd run through walls for him.
No. I'm just saying, like,
that's right, coach.
He has some of his guys drinking the Kool-Aid. Drake Lindsay was like quoting PJ Fleck saying in this transactional world, he's creating a transformational, all of these different things. So I guess my question to you is, for a Minnesota program that under PJ Fleck is consistently good, consistently has winning seasons, consistently does enough and wins the games they're supposed to win, can they or will they ever take the next step?
Depends on what the next step is. You mean win the Big Ten?
I mean, win 9-10 games and
I think consider
themselves a contender.
Yeah, look,
I feel like they're a perennial, like, let's make a bowl game and keep this bowl game winning streak alive, and that's what we want.
I mean, now this is the minutia, like, that's non-betting, but some college football programs should be happy with that, and I think Minnesota might be one of those programs that should be happy with what Fleck's doing. So I would say yes. I mean, this year might potentially be that year. You do have a lot of returning production. You do have a schedule that is pretty manageable. Sneaky tough game that I'm actually really interested to watch on September 12th. You get to play host to Mississippi State. Having wrote up the SEC, Mississippi State does have some kind of indicators that maybe they're going to be relatively good. So we'll see if, and by their own measure, I should say.
Well, I mean, the front half of last year under Jeff Lebby, like, they upset ASU, they do all this stuff. You think, oh my gosh, how many games are they going to win? And then it falls apart.
Side note, do you know how many SEC wins Jeff Lebby has?
Is there any?
One. Yeah, he had one. He's 1-15 in the league so far. It has not been great, but he's actually pretty decent at covering the numbers in the league, which is a far cry. Anyway, but Eastern Illinois, Mississippi State at home, Akron. Then you get to play host to some of the big boys on the schedule, right? You get to play host to Michigan. You get to play host to Iowa, I should say. Got to go to Indiana. You got to go to Penn State, which is going to be a loss according to you. But I do think that you're going to be a pretty plucky team, and this could be the year you take advantage of it.
I think a lot of coin flips.
Sure, of course.
That's kind of what this is which way are the coin flip games going to go? Your offense needs to be better. I do think that some of the stats are a little bit misleading on them, right? You see 129th in FBS total offense. It's because they got crushed in those games against Ohio State and Oregon and Iowa, like they couldn't do anything. They need to get the run game going. Like RTB, row the boat, baby. That used to also stand for run the ball, and they couldn't do any of that last year. They had, I think, 6 or 7 games where they couldn't even rush for 70 yards. So they have a lot of things that they need to get fixed. If they can, like in terms of the win total stuff, like what are we at? 5.5? Like I think absolutely.
Yeah.
But
they're experienced
that would be
enough.
the bet.
5.5 over -160. So you're laying a price on it, but you should be able to get there.
You think they get 7 because you got +130, +135 on the alt over 6.5.
I'll book you 500 to 1 though on big odds to win the Big Ten. I'll tell you that much.
Take it. Oh no, you'll book me.
Yeah,
no, I don't want that.
I got Tim one time.
I'm good. I'm not going to make a donation to the fund of Jonathan Von Tobel. I already have to take you to Barry's.
Kin to yeah, you do, huh?
I've been telling you to pick a date. You haven't told me. I'm a calendar person. I'll put it in the calendar. We'll go.
What's your next opening?
Oh, I can't pull it up right now. We got 30 seconds to go. We'll make the determination.
My bad.
I'm free after 1 o'clock Pacific time most days, if you've heard.
Okay.
That's a wrap for us,
Barry's
everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Keep it locked right here on VSiN. Follow the money coming up next. Mitch Moss and Dustin Sweetelson for the next 3 hours.
Summer Sweet.